Hey, everybody, welcome to the Evolution Podcast, presented by Evergreen Foundations here on School, hosted by Brandon Kramer from the Better Brain Project and Dinka Salvador from Trinity Code. Today, we welcome Ailandas Sulcas from the Inner Flame here on School. Welcome, Ailandas. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me here in your podcast and your community Evergreen Foundations. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be able to share my wisdom with people. So, yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. It's kind of cool how it worked out. You became a moderator of ours a couple weeks ago, and we added 3 moderators. And James Bonsbach was our next episode. He was moderator. Yarny was our second episode in a row. He was our second one added, and now you're third, and you were our third moderator added. And we didn't really try that. It worked out perfectly and kind of aligned. So I really like that. It's really cool how that went down. And I know you really well. I've gotten to know you better. We've jumped on some calls. We're both combat sports athletes at heart, or brothers from blood brothers, if you will. So that I know a lot about you, but our audience might not. So I'm going to ask the same question I asked to everybody that comes into the Evolution Podcast. Who is Ailandas Sulcas?
Okay. So, where do I even begin? I was born in Lithuania, Eastern European. Kind of the reason why I do what I do. I'll expand on that a little bit in a second. But the reason why I do what I do is because my whole life I've been taught to be very, very masculine, just purely masculine, all about anger, strength, and mindless discipline and productivity. That was everything that I knew, and to some degree was good while I was growing up. The discipline was good because from when I was 6 years old, I was into freestyle wrestling because it was a sport that my family was into, and it allowed me to build a very, very good character, a very, very good approach to life. I was always disciplined. I was always dedicated. I was always motivated to do things. Um, and that led to an interesting development, a development that led to me focusing on accolades as a measure of success and growth, as opposed to focusing on my inner world, which is essentially a reflection of how we experience life and how successful we feel about our lives. And that is the thing that I realized over time. It took me some time. It took me a lot of what I call modern slavery, 70 to 80-hour weeks at work. And I decided, screw this. If I'm going to spend that time working for somebody else, might as well do it for myself. Um, and still, I went down the same path where I was building these accolades. I opened up my own accountancy business. I kept building on the wisdom that I had, that I built through these accolades. And it took me a car crash to realize that all of that stuff it can disappear within a split second. And I always I never looked within. There's other parts of me that reflect that as well. When I moved to UK in 2012, September 2012, I got a sense of freedom because my whole life was built upon discipline, consistency, motivation to do and do and do. And I got that sense of freedom. And the first thing that I did with freedom was stopped going to lectures. I moved to the UK to go to university, so I stopped going to lectures. After 6 months, I dropped out because I just didn't have enough attendance, and I failed all my half term exams. And I got into substances, classy drugs, some smaller drugs as well. So it really, really, really put me in a dark place. And it took me a lot of effort to start stepping out of it. I had to step into that discipline again, the same discipline, same tendency to build accolades. It was just this numbness to life, this kind of grayscale perception of what life is that took away the flavor, the color of experience for me. I just couldn't feel excited about anything. Anything that I decided to do, I dropped within a couple of weeks, maximum a month. I could never be consistent. My relationship suffered. Just so many things, so many things. I was always stressed, always angry, never excited, never happy, really, always suppressing the things that I should have felt or wanted to feel, um, until I started looking within. Simple as that. I started observing myself through meditation. Spent a lot of time meditating, did meditation retreats, read a bunch of books, did a bunch of self inquiry, shadow work. And I created this combination that works really, really well through very, very simple methods and techniques through meditation and journaling. That worked really, really well. Gave me a lot of um, perspective of what matters in life. And that's what I try to teach people now. I created this identity map that I map out for people through specific meditation, and they have a visual representation of their behavioral patterns, emotional loops, emotional dependencies, integration pathways, the whole shebang, the whole identity mapped out, and people can work through it through very, very simple tools and techniques and become lighter, closer, move closer to enlightenment, however you want to call it. So yeah, that's the a very all over the place story of who I am and what I do.
I love it. And it's also so funny how there's a lot of similarities. I think Jarne had a very similar experience that he also was literally hit by a car as a little, nudge from the universe, like, hey, it's time to change something. So no surprises there. I feel like there's a lot of similar themes within the Soul Gang. And another thing that comes to mind is what we say a lot in on this podcast, that you did something hard and you turned it, you came out on the other side and turn it into your medicine and you're offering to the world, which is always so powerful. And so thank you for that, and thanks for sharing your incredible journey. As a fellow Eastern European, I can relate to this to from a certain perspective, because obviously I'm not a man, so I wasn't really taught this pattern. But when was the first time where you really were like faced with other perspectives as far as patterns go for men, when you felt like, oh, okay, so this might not be the only option, or when the little kind of window to another reality appeared in your life?
Yeah, so I think the moment where it really hit me as a like a light bulb moment that a massive change can happen is when I saw it in my dad. Um, I kn- so my whole life, pretty much, my dad was in jails. He was part of this illegal activity group in the country that I'm from, and he was basically a very dangerous, very scary man, and that's how I knew him. As much as I did know him at the time, I'm a lot closer with him now. Um, and I don't know how many years ago now, but probably like 7, 6 years ago, my I went to visit them in Ireland with my girlfriend at the time, wife now, and we spent some time there, and it was just incredible to see how much just simple meditation can change a person. He went from somebody that was really hurting people and creating a lot of suffering in the world to somebody that was walking around in the park with his eyes closed, walking into people or into like puddles or whatever and laughing about it. It was just a massive, massive change. And I was just, I just couldn't believe what I saw. And I was curious and I asked him, and he just said that all he did was meditate. He just meditated every single day. Um, and that was probably one of the main reasons why I stuck with it. I also saw how much of a change it had on my wife as well. She has BPD, borderline personality disorder, and it helped her a lot. Um, th- Being consistent with meditation, I gave it a shot. It was difficult at the beginning because I felt like I was doing nothing, just wasting my time.
Mhm.
But I persevered and I could see the changes. They're not instant. Depending on how you meditate, they can be pretty fast, but they're not instant. Took me some time, but I stuck with it, and the rest is history. It literally changed the trajectory. What a difficult word
Mm.
of my life, and yeah, it put me on this path of sharing my wisdom and helping others heal. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, seeing the change in my dad was probably one of the most profound moments when it comes to realizing the power of that healing that meditation
Mm.
has.
That's so beautiful, and I love that it's something that you share with each other now. And I truly believe that generational trauma and working on that. So him working on his baggage had already a quantum effect on you and allowed you to tap into that power as well. So that's really really cool. I really love that for you.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. You never know how life is going to unfold, but there's something that I heard in a Vipassana retreat that I firmly believe is that we do carry our suffering, our sankharas as they call, from life to life if we don't work through it and allow it to just leave us and pass through. And once we have planted that seed of working through that suffering and making our lives lighter, that seed carries on from life to life. Consciousness pushes it through from one life to another. It's just the way it flows. However you want to look at reincarnation, if you don't believe it or you do believe it, but that's how I believe it. And once that seed has been planted in one of those physical existences that our soul had, it stays there. And life makes you walk that path again. You keep watering that seed until it grows enough to become a tree of freedom, a tree of enlightenment.
Yeah. I believe that too. And I also strongly feel that the more people in one bloodline are working on themselves and therefore on the big communal trauma pool, the easier all the trauma is dissolved. And I'm pretty sure that you and your dad are walking that hand in hand. So I think that's really wonderful. How does that affect the rest of the male members of your family? Did you see any ripples going to other people, or is it just the two of you so far?
It just seems to be the two of us so far. There's the rest of the men know the work that we do. They support my dad and they support me, but it doesn't seem to be enticing enough for people to step into it, which is fair enough. You know, we all have to go through our own journeys
Mm.
of healing, of realization. So I don't think it is something that can be forced upon someone. I think we either this we either discover it through just self-development and wanting to get better, or we have to fall to our lowest lows to realize that we need to change something. So but whichever the path is, I think it is inevitable eventually, be it in this lifetime or a different one.
And the best that you can do is just to be an embodiment of it, and it will rub off on them whether they want it or not. That's my experience. That usually, as you say, if you try to force something, it's usually met with resistance. But if you are embodying it, then eventually it's like, so wait a minute, tell me more about what the thing that you're doing. It raises curiosity and questions and openness. So I definitely see that as the way to helping other people. So yeah, amazing that you're already doing that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's an important thing, and if we use the analogy that I use of the inner flame, that warmth that we generate through this inner work, the welcomingness of it, the brightness of it, it's infectious. It can create a little spark in somebody else's inner world, and that flame can start developing there as well.
Yeah, and I love that analogy as well because it's also something that you need to tend to, otherwise it goes out. It's precious, right? It's in order for it to keep glowing, you have to feed it. Well, maybe not every day. I find that's also very personal to everyone, what their practice is, but regularly you cannot just abandon it because then it goes out. So I think it's a really cool metaphor that you came up with.
What was the word you said, like, a little bit ago? You said sankaras, ankaras? What was
Sankharas,
sankara?
sankharas.
Okay, I thought you said ankara, and I'm like, "Is that what that means?" And then, second, was it an actual car crash, or was that a metaphor?
No, no, actual car crash. It wasn't like horrible. It just made me. It really shook me. Like it wasn't really bad, but it really shook me. Like it really put into perspective. I had this Lexus that I was driving that I spent loads of time saving on and purchasing, and I was like super happy about it for like I don't know, not long, and then it crashed, and I was like, well, this happiness that I worked for years suddenly gone. What's the point in trying to build these external ways of building happiness, joy, fulfillment can just be gone within a split second, literally.
Well, yeah, I can totally relate. My combat career was also cut short due to a car accident, and yeah, just that your whole story really resonated with me. It also taught me that, like, oh, he was really good because when he's going after the accolades, I was going after just like doing it, and like I was 9 and 7, so I wasn't stuck at accolades. So the second you said that, I was like, oh, he was good. um, yeah, I know what it's like though to be a combat athlete and to really be stuck in 2 pounds of weight land in your head or that next fight or that next thing, that's all you focus on. That's everything in your life. There is no other focus. For 12 weeks before that fight, like, everything you eat, everything you think, everything you say, everything you do, every movement is for that. So I've definitely can, relate to that mindset and how you can get just so, like, tunnel lost of, like, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to do, all the time. I am gonna briefly point out that I said Ankara 3 times, and then Ankara came in, like, is he Beetlejuice? What's happening?
I just typed it into the chat as well.
I
Like, say his
literally was
name
like,
and he appears.
Ankara,
You have to
Ankara,
be
and then
careful with your words, Brandon, what you say.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows who you're gonna summon next?
I literally summoned him. That was crazy. And I might another question, a reaction I have, and I would love to talk to you more about this. A little candidly, I've talked about this a lot. At 21 years old, I had a doctor that said, "You have BPD, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no medications, and this is who you are for the rest of your life." I listened to that doctor for 15 years, maybe longer. A long time until I started to get my life back in order. And with BPD, emotions, unregulated emotions, meditations and stuff are so helpful. It's my kryptonite. I can't slow down. I can't slow my brain down. I can't slow down for 2 minutes. So it's not a huge thing that's helped me because I really struggled to get there. Journaling and fitness and a few other things have really changed my life around. But meditation is something that I really want to get into, like, really badly. I get on the boat and I fall off every time. So what is your experience with your wife, with your dad, with yourself, seeing all those powerful transformations? What do you tell somebody like me that's like, dude, I struggle. Like, I can't even close my eyes for 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's difficult, and you will struggle if you keep saying that you struggle.
Yeah, I know.
That's one thing. But yeah, it's definitely difficult because, like, even if you don't have anything like some sort of a mental challenge, it's just difficult. Like, we're so used to just go 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 these days, like do more and more and more. Um, our attention is always focused on preventing something in the future from happening or making sure we fix something that already has happened, and we never really end up spending time in the present moment. And I think I posted a video about this in Evergreen a little bit a few weeks ago, but it's all about attention, right? So as I'm speaking right now, how active is your mind in between the pauses of what I'm saying? Are you actually constantly thinking and having thoughts, or is it quite quiet and still? You know? So it's kind of like this, but the problem happens when our eyes are not engaged. We become super distracted because we are not entirely sure what's going on around us. So all of these senses that we have engage a bit more, and it makes it more difficult. Our mind doesn't have anything to focus on because we're not looking at anything. So, for example, you could meditate with your eyes open. You can definitely do that. A very good way to do it is if you have a candle and you light it, and you just have it at eyes like the height of your eyes, so you don't have to look down or up. You sit straight with your back straight, head not resting anywhere, and you just watch the flame, and you'll get some incredible experiences. Really powerful experiences, really calming, really centering, really grounding experiences. Your mind will start coming down because you're watching that flame, and the flame is mesmerizing. I don't really know how, like, I can't even count the amount of people that would say I hate watching a flame or sitting beside it. It's just very calming, very inviting. So it's the same thing with a candle. If you cannot close your eyes for 2 seconds, keep them open, but just look at the flame, observe the flame, be curious about it, try and predict what shape it's going to take in the next moment. Try and notice the heat of it, everything about it. That is literally meditation, being so attuned to the moment right now, everything about that moment, everything that's happening. And that's it. All you have to do is observe and be curious. That's the thing that I say in my meditations all the time. Curiosity is our God-given talent. We all have it. We just forget about it because we have no time to be curious. We only have time to plan and do. We don't have time to be and be curious. We don't have time to be observant of our surroundings, of what's happening. The meditation itself is a practice, but the meditative state of our mind is the natural state of our being. When we're super attentive, super aware, super efficient and effective in the way we think, when we use our brain as a tool as opposed to being a tool of our brain. That is the meditative state. And there's no need for you to have your eyes closed if you can't. That meditation, with just having a flame in front of you and just focusing on the flame on that little candle is powerful. And I think that might work quite well for you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's crazy because from ages 0 to 6, we all are in that theta state, right? We all are in that meditative state naturally. For the first 6 years of our life, everything we're taking in is in that natural meditative state. And then now we have to like work back towards that after we've gained that first 6 years of everything that we soaked in, right? So that's always been super, since I've learned that, it's been super fascinating to me because we are all in that state naturally. That's the way we show up to the world, and then we lose it. And it's like a lot of us spend times mostly in our adulthood, right? Our late 30s, early 40s, when we figure out like we've been kind of like screwed up or whatever it is. We gotta like now we gotta deal with all this stuff that is us. And it's usually in a later period in time, and then we get practices like meditation and stuff. Um so I'm trying to like teach my kids young, right? I'm like trying to show my kids that like not just meditation, but other personal development things are good to do now. Just because you're a kid, get in these habits, right? Like, because I was never showed those things. When did meditation become after your car accident? When did it become like a daily practice and like something that you just became who you were?
It's the meditation practice became a thing before the accident.
Okay.
I was already delving into it, but it became a lot more substantial, like a lot more substantial. I used to do it an hour every single day for quite a few years now, probably for over half a decade now. Um, and I had this Vipassana retreat. I think it was September last year. And for those that don't know, a Vipassana retreat is a 10-day meditation retreat where you live life as a Buddhist monk. You spend about 11 hours meditating every single day. You cannot speak to anyone. You have no access to internet, no electronics, no way to journal. It's just you and your own inner world for 10 days. Um, and it's quite an interesting experience. I must admit I've never been so interested in looking at a leaf or a bug flying past as I was at that point because there was nothing else to do. Every little thing that was happening around me, I was like, "Oh wow, clouds! Oh bug! Ooh," just mesmerized by everything. It was so funny as well because we had this little forest behind the meditation temple building, whatever you want to call it. And it was literally, if you ever watched The Walking Dead, it was literally like a scene from Walking Dead because it was just a bunch of people walking around, just lying on the floor, or just sitting on the bench, looking at the sky. Just the other one's just on his all fours, walking on the floor, looking at something, just like the weirdest thing. Um, but after that meditation retreat, I ended up doing up to 2 hours every single day of meditation. It dropped a little bit now, but up to 2 hours I usually spend every single day.
Wow, that seems daunting. 2 hours is a long time. That's pretty incredible. Is this something you do like when you feel in the moment? Do you have like a routine? Are you like is it all at once? Do you break it down? Like how do you kind of do your meditation like currently?
Yeah, so there's a meditation that I do in my community every single Monday, which is a clarity meditation that I call. And I essentially found that there's three centers within us that really allow us to kind of bring a lot of peace and clarity into whatever we're doing in the moment. Um, and it's a very, very simple practice of becoming super aware of your body and what is happening within it, bringing all of that awareness into your heart, letting it sit there, listening to your feelings and emotions, moving that energy to your throat so you can authentically observe everything that's happening within you, so you don't lie to yourself that you're feeling happy when you're actually angry or something like that. And then you bring all that energy to the top of your head, your crown area, where the thoughts that we have after we embrace the feelings and emotions and the authenticity are truthful, full of peace and clarity as well. And you can do that in a couple of minutes if you want to just move that energy around, create that synchronicity between all these points. Sometimes it just takes a couple of minutes, sometimes maybe 5 minutes if you have the time to close your eyes and spend that time moving that energy around. But it's super, super powerful. It is really, really good. That's the one that I talk about the most. Um, that's the one that I teach people a lot. A lot of my clients use that one as well. So it is really, really good.
Of course, we are a school-based podcast, so we love to talk school and communities. And so I would be curious to know what brought you to onto school and how your journey started. Maybe as just a community member and then owner, or how did it unfold for you?
Yeah. So I created my school account ages ago. I remember seeing this advert when I first started creating a coaching business a couple of years ago. I remember seeing this advert on Facebook that I clicked on, and it was a school community. And I jumped on, and they were basically teaching you how to use Facebook ads, like really, really cheap ad campaigns to get members into your coaching business or your own school community. So I spent like 3, maybe 4 days in that community after I clicked on that ad, and then I was gone for a while, a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And then I had met this person in a coaching course that I did, a very expensive coaching course that I probably used like 1% of the knowledge that I got from there, by the way. It wasn't that good of an investment, but anyway, all happens for a reason because I met a person there that said, you need to go on school into this community. It's a massive community. Everybody knows it's Synthesizer. Um, so I joined the community, and as I joined it, he disappeared. He didn't use it anymore. So he kind of like invited me to join. I joined, spent some time in the community, and I was like not really feeling it. But then for whatever reason, I just went back. I don't really know why. I just kind of thought, you know what, maybe I need to kind of try and stick to something and go back to it and see if I can make it work. So I went back to it, and I stayed ever since. I literally went all over the place, all kinds of communities, and now I'm firmly set in the spaces that I'm in. Evergreen Foundations being one of them, as you can probably tell. I'm super active here. Um, yeah, and that's what prompted me to create my own community. That's what prompted me to check out other spaces. Actually, to build up on that as well, another reason why I went to school is because my whole idea of becoming successful was to build everything alone and go viral on social media. And I feel like so many people try to do that. And I did go viral-ish on YouTube. I had this massive video that took off and literally resulted to nothing. Literally nothing. Apart from the fact that I got monetized on YouTube, that was it. So I was like, okay, that's not going to work. Need to find an alternative. So that, in combination to what I said before, resulted me to go to school and check it out a bit more.
And then when you started your own community, how was that process like? Were you like, "You know what? I'm gonna start a community," and, like, how did the name come about? What was that process like?
The name came about from a book that I read. And I don't remember what the book is called now. I could probably find out. I don't know if I have it on my Kindle reader anymore, but it was basically a book that gives the very basics of Buddhism. Um, and the author mentioned that we essentially we all have this flame within us, the flame within us that we need to look after by observing ourselves, the way we behave. Our emotions are almost like signposts that allow us to make sure that we walk the straightest path to the origin of who we are and where we come from. Emotions are essentially these kind of misdirections. If we look at it from the origin point to where we are now, they're misdirections of who we are. But if we work backwards, we can track those emotions to kind of take us back to that curious, observing version of ourselves. And yeah, I really like the analogy of that flame that we have within us. So I kind of thought the flame keeper sounds pretty good, and I just stuck with it. The colors came naturally as well. I kind of stuck with the colors. Initially, I must admit it was very difficult because I wasn't that active on school. So it was difficult to get members to join in. I wasn't really putting in a lot of effort into it. I wasn't creating much. I wasn't adding a lot of stuff in the classroom. I was doing some very basic posts, not engaging posts, and this is not a plug or anything, but as soon as I got to Evergreen Foundations and started talking to people, literally the community just started uh, just skyrocketing. I think I went from like top 800 in the spirituality category within a couple of months. So I think I'm now top 75, which is amazing. And it's just because I started talking to people on Evergreen, and other communities that people have in Evergreen. Yeah, it's literally the communication part that I was missing the whole time, that I needed to lean into to be able to make my community flourish and become a space that I want it to be.
Yeah. It's so funny because you told the same story. I went out and I did, like, threads, and I would go in and very, very non-deep connection, right? Just threads, try to get members, average like 6 to 10 new members a month for a year and a half on school. Then we just started going out, going into all kinds of communities, showing up on lives. That's when the lives first came out. Showing up on lives, going in communities, not doing anything, not looking for members, just being me. Not looking for a member at all. I sent 0 DMs. In December, we had 96 new members, and then in January, we had 140 new members. And all we did was go out and be ourselves, was go out and just show authentically, like, "This is who we are," and then people were like, "Oh, they have a community. Let's join it. Let's join it. Let's join it." I literally sent 0 DMs. For the 10 a month, I was sending DMs every time. "Hey, come join our community. Hey, come join our community." And it was all the time. Since then, I haven't sent one telling people to come here. I'll send them other DMs that, like, "Hey, how's it going?" and meet people, right? Like, yes, obviously that's part of the process, but to get them to come to the community, never anymore. And now we've had like 400 new members in 4 months. So, like, it is a huge standpoint of when you're looking for members, you're trying too hard. When you're just being yourself, people go, "I really like Ailandas. Oh, we as a community, let's join that." Like, and that's the process. It's so simple. Like, you just be yourself. People go, "That guy's awesome. Oh, he has a community." And then they become a member that is engaged in your community. I happen to me all the time. On Carl, I met him for like 2 seconds and was like, "Oh, that guy's a dude. Let's go to his community." Like 2 seconds. And then we became like really close. And it was one comment. It's that easy where you can connect with people in school. And I think that's what makes it stand out over Meta, over social media, over YouTube. YouTube's a great piggyback. YouTube, because people go to YouTube looking to solve problems. So YouTube's a great thing for you. But like you said, you went viral, nothing from it. Thousands of views, probably. Not a damn thing. And
Yeah.
here in school, you don't need to go viral. You go viral in your own little tribe. I don't need to go viral. The people that care when I put out a thread, they're always there. And they conversate with me and they support me and they call me out if it's a bad thread or whatever it may be, right? Like, I don't have to wait on 55,000 people to watch it to go, "Oh, I hope one likes it." And that's what's so cool about school, that the school makes it way deeper on the connection level, and I think that's why all of us get the bug and kinda get addicted to it, right? It's different than everything else out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting you saying that you didn't ask any people to join. I'm kind of the same. I don't really ask people to join, but people are joining still, which is just builds upon the point that you said. Like, if you just be yourself, if you be authentic, and you just have no expectations for people, I find that very, very important. If you just have no expectations, there's no friction. People don't feel like there's this pressure for them to join something or attend something. You just kind of be yourself, and people seem to be attracted to that as long as you're authentic and you're not trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not.
And you're gonna get churn. There's gonna be people that'll leave your community. We're not gonna be for everybody, right? They might come in for 2 days and be like, not my thing. It happens. Like, I'm loud. I'm a serial interrupter. You can barely hear me sometimes. I'm rough around the edges. So I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But the people that I am, we grow deep connections, right? And I think school really makes that a possibility because on Facebook, I post a lot. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So I get comments that are like weird, right? That never happens in school. If somebody goes, I don't vibe, they leave. They leave the community. And now I don't have to worry about them trolling my post for people that don't really like my post because they don't stay. And I think that's the beautiful thing about school is it's almost like a tribe filter of like, I don't have to stay on the algorithm. I don't have to stay on the feed like on social media and stuff. You get to choose where you are and what you see and who you jump on lives with. And I think that's awesome. That's the part that is going to make school stand apart for all of us, because then each person takes their unique gifts and makes it special with their own community and their own vibe and their own things. And I think it's like a melting pot of human beings, and it's really cool.
Yeah. And there's no ads.
And there's no ads. And there's no ads. Somewhat. I feel like there's still ads, right? You go down paths, man. I probably put out a few ads in my day on this just because you get a little confused, right? But yeah, for the most part, no ads, and I love that. Except here on Saturdays, you guys can put all your offers out in Evergreen Foundations. We love ads on Saturdays. So with Inner Flame, where are you now with the way you're thinking about that community compared to like what we just talked about when you first kind of started it? Now you figured it out. Now you're getting engagement. Now you're getting new members. Now you're kind of seeing the identity of the culture a little bit more. What's the future look like for Inner Flame?
Man, I'm so excited. I'm honestly so excited for where it's going and what's unfolding. There's events that will be based on collaboration. So communities connecting together that will be hosting events in my community to give value as much as we can to people that might make use of it. There's also something that I got inspired to do, looking at Ankara, this summit, a 30-day summit in June, where I'll be having a guest speaker once a day. And at the end of it, my goal on the 1st of July is to have 100 people to meditate together at the same time. So I want to create this collective energy that we can put out to the world and make the world a little bit of a better place with our ability to heal and spread love and compassion and oneness. So that's what I want to do. Um, I I want the Flame Keepers to be a movement. I spoke to Alan Webster about it, but I firmly believe that it's something that people could stand behind, rekindling that flame within and making sure that we look after that flame so we burn bright, we burn warm. Other people get infected by the goodness and the love and the compassion that we have, the sense of oneness. That flame connects us all. If we can all start seeing the power of that flame that we have within, the change that it can create in the world, if we just have the courage to start looking within and understand the power that we have, that it all starts from us, that it's just a matter of choice, then man, what a different place the world would be. Like, it would be such a different place. No weird scheming behind the scenes, no wars, no anger, no disagreement, just oneness, just unity, just love, just the way humans should be, at peace. No human inherently was born to be evil. Curiosity and observing nature that we are born with, it's one of awe, it's one of love, like inspiration of like, as a baby, you don't look at somebody and you're like, oh my god, I don't like you because you have these beliefs or this understanding of the world. You just look at somebody and you're like, oh my god, person, let's hug your leg or something. I don't know, it's just you're just how a human should be, just loving, curious, attentive, loving, just compassionate, no judgment, no non-acceptance, just how humans should be. And I feel like that's what the inner flame is, that little child version that we all have within us that we just forgot. It got buried underneath all these beliefs, all these emotional patterns, all these pressures for us to behave and act in a certain way in this world, because that's how society got structured over time.
This reminded me, and I can't remember, it might have been with you and Stephen in your little group that I came blasting in the other day, or it was Benjamin Lannon's. But we were having a discussion about Dinka always says, she actually got on me this morning. She always says that words are spells, right? And the things we think. You said earlier, well, if you said you don't suck at it, you won't say that. So it got me thinking on this group the other day. We were talking about similar things about human beings and the way we could band together and make change happen. And I kind of came out and said, well, if words are spells and we can create our own universe with our thoughts, what if every human being came together and just wanted peace and love and unity? Like, that would happen. Like, and it just sparked it. Maybe this is on Benjamin Lannon's group now because you're looking at me like you have no idea what I'm talking about. And I wasn't with you and me and Steven then. But yeah, we were talking with Benjamin and someone else was with us. Now, I can't remember. Maybe it's Alan Webster. It's Alan Webster. So we were discussing, like, yeah, what if we all just came together and thought the same things and spoke the same things, as many humans as possible? Everything that we've experienced, talked on this podcast for freaking 47 episodes, and everything we talk about in the community, there's hundreds of people that have experienced manifestation, law of attraction. Our thoughts become our reality. Words are spells. There's so many of us that have experienced this, not believe in it, experienced it. So what if we all did it? What would happen to the world? That really, like, I don't have an answer, obviously, but it's just something that really profoundly stuck out to me this week, is if we could make more change by thinking and saying and believing similar things.
Yeah, there's power in that unity. The unity right now that we have is very, very different, on a very different path. Um, if we can change the path that we walk as a collective, then the world will change as a result of it.
It's super, like, wow, like, it just made me really think, and I think we're doing that on a level here on school, right? Like, so many of us like-minded, we're aligning, we're making changes happen because we're doing it together, because we're pushing together. Nobody's trying to grow alone. And I've seen the power of what we can do here just in a little tiny corner of the internet, right? Like, where we can band together and grow a bunch of people. And it just made me wish that we could do this on a bigger scale in the world a little bit.
We will. Just give it time. It's
Yeah.
happening. The soul gang is connecting and growing bigger day by day. It's happening.
Absolutely believe that. And it's always aligned. It's always the right, it's crazy. It's always the right people that kind of step in to place, since we've really been doing this since January and our doors just kind of blew open. It's always the right people, the ones that stay, the ones that get engaged. I laugh about this a lot, but you're the one that said it. One time, you had a comment about a month or two ago, and you said, I have no idea what this community is about, but I freaking love it. The people are awesome. I'm staying. And we've made some clarity since then. But, like, that really taught me that, like, it doesn't matter. The messaging, the this, the that. If people care, they don't care about the little details. They care about the people they're surrounded with. They care about what's around them. And you really taught me that in this whole school game, is when you said that. And you said, I don't know what this place is, but I love it.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting experience, because I was looking for a place to network with people, and I stumbled up across your community. I joined, and I was like, "What is going on? There's so much happening, so many events, so many group calls and everything." I was like, I don't even know where to begin, but it was just a vibe. It still is a much bigger and better vibe now, but it was a vibe, and I was like, I need to stay in this energy and absorb it as much as I can.
I said something earlier that I struggle to slow down, and I struggle to close my eyes and be patient. One thing I don't struggle with is being available, and that's never. If you're watching this on recording and you're in this community, you don't have to show up to all the calls. I will. You show up to the ones you need to be at, and that's kind of the way I like to do this, is be hyper available. There's a ton of times, there's time zones, there's a ton of things. So I really love to connect with as many people as I can without expectations of you have to come to every group, right? Um, quick announcement, actually. I'm going to throw you the floor. You got something coming up in this group for European members, don't you? And Evergreen Foundations next Monday, maybe?
Yes, we do. We have this thing called Clarity and Mindset Spark. I called it. I don't know if that's a good name or not, but it kind of puts the thing across. It's going to be all about starting our day with clarity, with purpose. Perhaps it could be a meditation. Perhaps it's going to be something that we want to share in terms of like mindset barriers, emotional difficulties that we have that we want to just get off our shoulders and talk about, and we can help each other collectively to kind of lighten our load, just make it easier for ourselves to walk through the rest of the week or throughout the day, whatever it may be. Um, and I firmly believe that it's a very, very powerful way to start the week. We're gonna have it on Mondays and Wednesdays, so hopefully from the Monday session up until Wednesday, we will be clear and grounded enough after that session, and then we can kind of top it up on Wednesdays and build upon that clarity and calmness and groundedness for the rest of the week.
I love that. Check the calendar, folks. We're doing this as a European friendly. So your boy here is probably going to be sleeping a lot of times when you guys do that one. It's at 5 a.m. my time. I really love that you're doing this, brother. We've had James doing the accountability calls. We've had now you're going to do this. It gives opportunities for people to really find the calls that mean something to them. The 5 pillars of evolution, the way we try to live a balanced, aligned, holistic lifestyle. There's a lot to that mindset, body, the way we think, the way we act, the way we do things. So having offerings from amazing people such as yourself, such as Dinka Salvador, Mark Eldridge, Melissa, James. Like we have so many people that are eclectic and have special gifts, and it doesn't matter what you need. We're almost like a yellow book, a Rolodex. I might not be for everybody, but I got 8 teammates, and one of them is probably going to be a person that'll probably you'll be able to connect with, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Dinka, before I
absolutely.
keep going as we wrap down here, do you have any questions or any questions from the gallery? You can
Yeah,
throw us up.
actually, James was gonna ask a question, so if we still have time, I'm just gonna give you the floor, James.
What's up, my brother? It's really nice to hear you and get to know you better. You know, the question that I have for you is something I've been asking myself, and I've noticed it within this group is one of the things that drew me to tornado power and evergreen was that like everyone was talking about it. And what I found about you and Yarna and a couple other people is like everyone's like, yo, you gotta meet this person. I didn't know anything about you. I didn't know anything about your group. I was like, oh, Flamekeeper. All right, that sounds cool. I didn't know what it was. But what happened was like I feel like your reputation preceded you. Even though I didn't know what your reputation was, it was just that guy, you know? So I'm trying to figure out how to because you can't control your reputation, but you can influence it. So I'm curious how you think you got that reputation of like, hey, you just got to meet this guy. He's a person. He's like someone you got to meet. And then also, you know, in the future, like, what reputation do you believe that maybe Evergreen has that you have before people even meet you? What are people receiving just from your ripples of interaction with other people?
I think the thing that allowed me to build a reputation, I don't know why it doesn't sound right to say reputation, but the thing that allowed me to build that reputation s- is the fact that I stopped trying to build some sort of reputation. I just honestly, I just reach out to people and communicate the way I would want to be talked to by others. I just be myself. I just try to be as calm and as inviting as I can be. And I feel like a lot of people connect with me from that point of view. I do get told a lot that people feel very the sense to be open and vulnerable in the conversations that we have in my presence, which warms my heart to hear that. I mean, that's incredible for somebody to be able to be comfortable enough to be open and vulnerable in my presence. That's a blessing. I definitely feel that as a blessing. We're so secretive about our lives today. We just don't want people to know anything that we do or how we do it. And I feel like Evergreen Foundations, maybe not even intentionally, allows people to be themselves, to open up, to share their story, to be vulnerable, to just give the genius and the wisdom that we have and share it with everybody else. Regardless if we think that we don't have any of it, we all have synthesized our histories into some sort of knowledge, some sort of power, some sort of genius that we can give out to the world because nobody else has lived the life that we have. And that is powerful. That is one of a kind gift. Nobody else has it. So I feel like Evergreen Foundations is the foundation for that to emerge for a lot of people.
Well, that
Hopefully
was
that answers your question.
that was a solid answer. And I'm going to agree with James. You joined our community, and then after you joined our community, these nifty little things that we have called phones that don't do things by accident showed me on Facebook. That because I connected with you on school, it goes, you might know this person on Facebook. So I creeped your Facebook and checked you out. I watched one video and I went, ooh, this guy's got a presence. I want to get to know him better. So I went from Facebook and watching that video, and then I actually DM'd you and was like, and that's how we had our first connection. And I joined your community, and like that was my first. Oh, this guy's awesome. Then you had me at Lithuanian Wrestler. Then you said that like the next, and I was like, oh, we're gonna be best friends. I didn't know anything about you. I didn't know you were a combat athlete. I didn't know you were a mindset coach. I didn't know you were into meditation. I didn't know anything. You said, and I will not remember what the reel was, but you're like kind of on a beach, I think, like in the grass, like there's some water maybe in the background. You're sitting on like a ledge. And what you said, and again, I can't remember the words, but I remember the words went, wow, I need to think about that more. And this guy's really cool. I need to get to know him better. I think having him in my life will be a big thing. And that, so James is right. Like you get a very there's some people that you just get an aura from, and I believe you have that inner flame aura. You live what your community is. You're not like, oh yeah, this is my niche, this is my culture. This is the theme. Let's fall in line with the theme. But you are your theme, and that is why your community is special. James, same thing. You are your theme. Dinka, you are your theme. Trinity Code isn't something you're living. Trinity Code is Dinka Salvador. So like, Better Brain Project, right? Same thing. I came up with that name in like 20 minutes and had a community in 6 hours because it is me. And I think when you do that, you can feel it. So I'm really not only proud of you, but it's really amazing to see, right? It's really amazing to see that you put so much of you into your community, into the way you carry yourself, and people can see that immediately.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the kind words. I really do.
And I also strongly feel that it gives permissions to others to also kind of let their freak flag fly and just do whatever they want. I always say this, we are, the kid with the ant farm in our community. Like you're the boss, you get to decide what's the vibe and what's the theme and what are the colors and just go for it because you cannot please everyone. That's impossible. Like forget about it. So you might as well just do what you want to do and by that attract the right people who find that specific weird thing that you're doing really cool. So and then also you don't have to play a part, you're just being yourself, so you never forget being yourself, right? So that's the best marketing in my book, but then again, who am I to know anything about marketing? Shall we go to the cards already?
Yeah, it's about that time. It's not really
It's
fast.
by in a second. Yeah, it was so much fun. So probably you know by now that I always pull a card at the end of the podcast for our speakers, and you got the Mirror Guardian, which says take time to reflect.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know how this resonates, but I definitely see the reflective nature of your soul.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something to sit with. Maybe there are things I need to reflect on. There are definitely things. There are always things I need to reflect on.
Oh, wow, man, this has been a great one. We're booked till like August, so get the link. Let's get a part 2. Just get on there. We need a part 2 anyway. I'm looking forward to more collaborations, more connections. Flame Keepers, we're gonna do this, man. I'm really excited to have you involved more here in Foundations. We're gonna have a lot more features presentations with you teaching us some meditations and mindset tricks and everything. So I'm here for it. Looking forward to it. Uh my final question that I always ask everybody is, what does evolution mean to you?
Hmm, that's a good question. What evolution means to me as a human being is probably the opposite of what evolution should mean. It's probably removing stripping back all of the evolution that we already experienced within. Just go back to the very foundations of who we are, unlearn everything, all the concepts that we have, to bring the purity of our minds to the forefront of our existence so we can think a lot more efficiently and effectively, so we don't get stuck in time traveling and we can experience the present moment the way it should be experienced. I think that is evolution for me.
Beautiful answer. And disclaimer, and unless they watch a podcast and come up with an answer because they know what's coming, I don't prep them. They don't get to be prepped with that answer. And Dinka doesn't pick the cards. In my opinion, every card has been perfect since we've done this. Even this one, the reflection. I feel like you'll find a way where it does resonate, because the minute she said that, I'm like, oh, here's another one. I feel like those cards are always spot on, and it's freaky because she just picks it the day of the podcast. I know that for a fact. Thank you for joining, guys. This has been an awesome conversation. Ailandas, I can't be more grateful that you're on the team here at Evergreen Foundations, for your support. We're a huge collaborative supporter of Flamekeepers, and find him here on Skool, Facebook. I know you said you have a YouTube as well. Ailandas, is there any final thoughts before we jump off here today you'd like to say to our audience?
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being part of this collective growth that we're experiencing in the world. So keep shining peace and light and oneness to everybody around you.
Oh, man. Thanks for watching, everybody. Follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and here in Evergreen Foundations. I'm Brandon Kramer from the Better Brain Project with my amazing partner, Dinka Salvador from Trinity Code. Have a great day, everybody, and never stop evolving.